Hello, gorgeouses. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the morning show. Happy Tuesday. How are we feeling? Yesterday, yesterday was a good day. Yesterday was a good day. Amen. How are we feeling today on a Tuesday? We're still getting back into the swing of things. Oh, you know what? That makes me want to talk about something. We're still getting back into the swing of things. And we're letting go of old stuff so that we can initiate new things. So say hello as you're jumping on. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the morning show. This is your spot for your up-leveling vibes. So I had a few topics come to my mind today that I wanted to talk with you guys about. So we'll just dive in and we'll see what comes up. But how are you guys feeling? What is your vibe this morning? What's coming up for you? How was yesterday? And what's top of mind for you? I'm just bringing up my notes here. Don't mind my distraction. Good morning. Hello. Okay, so we have a couple of things that we might dive into today. My mind is like a million miles a minute, and I feel like that's with so much purpose. So we're just going to go with it. Last night, I wanted to share this with you guys because I feel like these are the little everyday life things where the work comes into play and it ends up creating such a monumental shift with just this one little tiny little thing. So most of you guys know I'm a stepmama. I've got two girls who are in their preteen era. Okay. If you ever would have told me I would have preteens, never in a million years would I have thought that. But so last night, they're in their preteen era. And one of them is just like in a vibe. You know what I mean? Like just in a vibe. She's like just being weird, she's like suddenly mad at the world. Her dad comes home, she doesn't even say anything to him. And I go upstairs and I'm like, what's going on? She's like, nothing. I was like, your dad came home, he walked right past him, you didn't even say anything to him. She's like, oh, I was just cleaning. I was like, okay. So she's got this whole vibe going on. Whatever. I left her alone, went to the grocery store. But my genius husband, who is just blows me away with his ways of handling things, at the dinner table, he says, how about let's all go around the table and share our vibe and where we're at. I'll go first. And he shared authentically how he was feeling, what he had going on at work, all the stuff that was going through his head, and just shared, right? So then the next we're going this way, right? So it gets to her and she's like, I feel really tired. And I just I feel like there's just a lot going on and da da da. Point being, he initiated really casually an opportunity to share how you're feeling without making it weird and without putting her on the spot. And as we went around the table, our other daughter also, she's always very chill, but she also had she's like, I feel like it was a good day. It was fun, but I feel kind of weird. I'm tired. And I was like, oh my God, same. I feel the exact same. So I told him later, that was such a good idea to do that. I mean, he knew it was a good idea, but it was such a good idea because not only did it help her to get her feelings out without feeling awkward or weird like preteens do, but I noticed that our whole family unit kind of had the same feeling going on. Everyone was a little tired, not in a bad way, but a little tired and felt a little off, which tells me that there's been some sort of energetic shift. So when your whole family unit, especially, is kind of feeling some kind of way, what I was getting intuitively was we've entered a new chapter. We've entered a new energy. There's a new frequency. There's a new something happening, and everyone is feeling it, which leads perfectly into one of the topics that I wanted to talk about today. When you start to level up and raise your frequency and you are intentionally going into a new chapter or new level of life, you will become hyper aware of what does not fit anymore. Do you know what I mean? You will become hyper aware of the things in your life that just do not fit, do not resonate, certain feelings and energies that you have inside that are not a vibrational match for where it is that you're moving into. So, what that looks like is like certain things that used to feel light, fun, easy will suddenly start to feel heavy, hard, difficult, like a lot of energy to do them. And if you feel this, it is a sure sign that you have been leveling up in your internal state. So, as you level that energetic frequency, like that vibration that's inside of you, as it ascends to a new level, things that were a normal thing before, things that were maybe, what's the best way to say this? It's like stuff you used to do just doesn't resonate anymore. And it can really kind of throw you off. It can make you feel weird. It can make you feel like, but I used to love that. I used to vibe with that. And all of a sudden now it's like that feels so hard. That feels like force. That feels like, I just don't want to do that at all. So when you're doing this inner work and you're healing old stuff, as that old stuff leaves your body, so does the things that resonated with the old stuff. So in a very like silly practical example, maybe you used to gossip a lot at work. You know what I mean? Like maybe you used to get down with like the who's who and the gossip of people talking about each other at work. And then you start doing all this inner work on yourself, the healing. And now gossip doesn't feel fun. It feels icky. It feels like, ugh, I don't want to touch that. I don't want to be around it. And you're like, oh my God, I used to love that. What am I doing? And so it's just something to become hyper aware of because as you start to raise your frequency, you start moving into those higher energies of love, gratitude, acceptance, like the vibe of where we want to be that makes life feel like flow, that makes life feel easy. The old stuff will just not fit anymore. And if you can realize that, which is why we come on and we talk about it, because it's hard to realize it sometimes, especially if you're not in this work and you're not doing it all the time. If you can realize that that's what's happening, the old stuff will just fade away. It just fades away. It no longer becomes part of your snow globe, part of your energetic frequency, because it's not a match for you anymore. But if you fear it and you attach, so in our example of gossip or whatever, you're like, well, I'm not going to be in the circle anymore. I'm not going to have like my friends anymore if I don't gossip with them. And you attach to it, that's when life starts getting really clunky. Like stuff starts getting hard. Because when you ascend vibrationally, there's no going back. You know what I mean? Like you can't unheal. you know, you can't unknow what you now know. And so if you try to hold on to an old level of life, when everything in your energetic being is moving you to a new level of life, it's like all of the momentum is pushing you this way, yet you're still holding on to something here. That's going to be a rough ride. Do you see what I'm saying? So our job is to just like be aware of that. So last night we're around the dinner table and I had been feeling what I was feeling, but it was like probably just me because I feel a lot all the time anyway. And then going around the table, Robert's feeling some type of way, Violet's feeling some type of way, Willa's feeling some type of way. And I was like, oh, this is more than just me. This is like a vibrational shift that's happening here. So moving into a new energy is going to make you feel a little funny at first, but that's a good thing because if we're staying in what's familiar all the time, then you're not moving, you're not growing, you're not expanding, you're not experiencing anything new. And eventually, if you don't intentionally move into the unknown, like intentionally experience new things, life will shove you there. No joke, no lie. And you've probably been here because we all tend to resist newness a little bit. You know what I mean? But if you don't intentionally move your life forward, eventually life forces you to move forward. And a lot of times it's not in a comfortable way. You know what I mean? It's not like in a, oh, here, have this new beautiful experience. It's like, oh, life got really effing hard. It's like you get fired from your job. Like that kind of stuff happens that forces you to move into a new chapter. So when you're doing this work and you're doing what you know to do. You know what I mean? Like we're processing out the old stuff, we're intentionally stepping into the new. There's going to be these time periods of the in between where you feel a little funny. You just feel a little funky, And like that's okay. Basically, is what I'm saying. Like that's okay. So what have you guys been feeling? I'm curious about. How has your journey been here of late? Have you been feeling a little of that like kind of off vibe, but at the same time you're like everything's good though. Like everything is good. You know what I mean? I'm excited because I feel like we're in a time right now where there's a lot of newness. Like a lot of newness, and I'm here for it. And I've been really mindful of where I'm repeating old patterns. You know what I'm saying? Because like we can get real comfortable and attached to what we've done before and just do it automatically, like on autopilot. And what we have done before is not going to create something new. So if you don't like the results you're getting right now, it's time to like change up the pattern and do something new. Chris said, off and turbulent inside. However, on the outside, nothing's wrong. See, it's a vibe right now. Like there's a vibration happening. We did have Pluto went retrograde yesterday, day before yesterday, something like that. And Pluto's going to retrograde back into Capricorn for just a little bitty bit. And then it's going to come back and it's going to stay in Aquarius for the next 20 years. This last pass of the retrograde is essentially like its last little cleanup. So, for those of you who aren't super familiar with astrology, Capricorn is like the structures of the world. Capricorn is earth, it's like foundational energy. It's very much related to business. And so, if you have maybe something in your business that you've been working through for some years now, I know that's been my vibe. Some things that needed to shift, some things that needed to change. This is kind of like your last little pass. Like Pluto's going to come in and just like do a final sweep to see if there's anything else you need to clean up. Pluto's job is to deconstruct, and destruct anything built by the ego. So anything built in the wrong energy will be destroyed by Pluto. But the purpose of it is for you to rebuild with sustainable soul energy, like with the energy that can last forever. So even though it's very disruptive to our ego, we don't love it when things just get destroyed. It has a greater purpose. That's basically saying you can do it better. Do it better. Like you kind of threw that together in the wrong energy. You threw that together out of fear. You threw that together out of scarcity. You threw that together because you felt like you needed to get something you were lacking. That can't live. And so now it's been destroyed. It's been destroyed. Do it better. Do it better. And I've seen this, personally in my own business, parts of where I was building the structure of my business from an energy of like, but I need to do this because like somebody else has done it like this, so I have to do it like that. And every part of my business that I had seen in that way got destroyed, which is fine. Fine. I would rather build something in sustainable soul energy. But at the time, you're doing your best. You know what I mean? Like we've got to give ourselves grace. We're always doing our best. But Pluto comes in and says, do it better, basically. So we do have that going on. So I think it makes sense that we're all feeling like some type of way because it's essentially Pluto coming back through and doing that final sweep in this area of your chart. So Capricorn, Aquarius energies, whatever house that's in for you. So for me, it's my third house of communication, my fourth house of foundation. It's like right there at the foundational level. So makes sense to me that some of the foundations of my business got knocked down like a Jenga tower. It was like, do it again and do it differently. Like, okay, all right. You said lately all I want is self-care for hours. Oh my God, me too. Me too. It's like I'm really wanting to just pull back from the entire world, go into my cave and just like bask in my own energy. But that is also something I'm always wanting to do, but I have felt it very strong lately. She said it conflicts with my old pattern of working hard to get ahead. I'm working on an event and I'm hosting to step out and share what I do. Yeah. Okay. So it makes sense that my ankle's a problem because it's making me stay still. Oh, that's so real. So real. Okay, there's a couple of things that come to my mind when you say this. One is obviously, that mentality that we need to be doing in order to be productive. We know that that's just a program that we've been conditioned into. That's not truth. But one of the things that came up was on a coaching call like 2 weeks ago, working with a client, similar vibe. She's like doing to be productive, all of this stuff. And it's something we've been talking about for a while. She had this brilliant idea, one of those ideas that just is soul aligned, like this is what I'm meant to do. I'm so excited about it. The floodgates opened, so many ideas. She was so excited to move ahead on it. And then her son got sick, and then she got sick. So it was like universe gave her this big influx of energy and then said, and stop, which is so frustrating, right? You're like, all I want to do is do this stuff. But in the coaching session, what I shared with her is that pullback, that contraction is part of the production. Everything in nature has to contract before it expands. Everything in nature is this way. So your body, your being, like meaning not the logical mind that thinks it knows everything, right? Your body, your being knows what's coming. And that's what you feel. You feel that anticipation. It knows the bigness that's coming, and so it is implementing this era, this season, this little rest so that you can prepare for that big influx that's coming. So think about it like influx that came in. I'm so excited. Let's fucking go, blah, 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 right? And then it's like a forced surrender. That forced surrender prepares your being for that next big expansion. So think about it in terms of like, if you don't do that surrender, you don't do that respite, like you're not going to be ready for the next influx of expansion. So if we can embrace those periods, like adhere to the self-care. Like obviously we can't pull back from the whole world and go cave up like I would like to do. That is like the story of my life though. Like everything in me just wants to like and I am meant to, in this life, participate. I'm meant to participate in the world. I don't think it means don't do anything. I think what it means is like don't push forward. Go with the flow that's showing up for you. Do what there's energy for. I used to keep a note on my desk that said, what is there energy for right now? And I would just run through the list in my head, of all the things that I know need to get done. What is there energy for right now? And there would be one thing on that list where my whole being would just go, oh, that sounds fun. And so I would go and do that. And so it's really learning to trust the flow of life, right? Because we're so programmed and conditioned that we've got to hurry up and get there. But we got to really you really start questioning that, like why? You know what I mean? Why do I have to hurry up and get there? Like, what is this made up timeline that I'm working with? Where I'm like, gotta hurry up and get everything done because faster is better. It's like, but why? But why? You know what I'm saying? So it's a real practice in learning to trust the flow of life, that how you're feeling is part of the production. It's part of the whole thing. I know I've said it on here before, and I think I've said it recently, like the root system is part of the flower blooming. So when we're in that period where we just want to be underground and rest and nourish, we're growing our root system to prepare for that big growth. And we can't skip that, because if you skip that, what's going to happen to that flower? It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to be. So we've got to give our periods. Yeah, I totally feel that. I just want to hide. I feel like I'm like that 80% of the time. Like 80% of the time. Like I come on here and I do this show every morning, but pretty much every day I'm like I could just sit on my meditation cushion and just be here all day. Like that's my vibe. I'm very introverted. And a lot of people don't believe me when I say that because I do have like big outward energy, but I am introverted to my core. So we have to honor these time periods of rest and not see it as a bad thing because if we don't honor the time period of rest, we're not going to slingshot forward like we want to slingshot forward. So if you're feeling those feels, just realize that they're with purpose. There's nothing wrong with you. It's actually productive. It's what you're meant to be doing. So I'll give you a practical example because I'm feeling that energy too right now. Like I just want to nourish. I don't want to do anything. Like the energy, what there is energy for right now is working behind the scenes to create. Like I have so many ideas I want to put into play. There's so many like posts I want to create and put out. There's this new thing that I've been rolling around in my head for a long time, and I want to work on that. So it's like the more introverted things, those are the things that there's energy for right now. There's less energy to be like outward. I'm going to show up for the show and I'm going to do my thing here, but like I'm not running a live program right now. I'm not taking on a ton of clients right now. Hello from New York City, Nia. Thank you. I was like, how do you pronounce it? Hello from New York City. So I'm doing the things that there's energy for. And I think there's so much purpose to that because if you think about that, like we need the foundation. We need the foundation if we're going to build an empire, right? So like we've got to take time to like time out from the world, kind of show up less in an outward way and build that foundation so that you have something to really build on. You know what I mean? So I think it's all with purpose is what I'm saying. If you've been feeling that little hibernation mode, honor the hibernation mode, like rest your soul, nurture, ask yourself, what is their energy for? And it's always perfectly aligned. There was something, this has helped me so much. I was listening, it was a YouTube video, and the guy said, at the end of the day, you have to trust that everything you did was what there was energy and time for. And anything that you did not do was not meant to be in that day. Like, you got to trust that, And I think there's a fine line difference between us, like, well, I'll say this. If you're having days where you just don't have the energy to do anything, like you're like lazy, that's not like I don't believe in lazy. That's not like a lazy problem. You need to shift the direction of your life. Because if you're not receiving energy from what you're doing on an everyday basis, that's not your path. That's not your path. You need to shift to the thing that's going to light you up, that's going to give you energy, that's going to fill your soul. There's something you're meant to be doing that you're not currently doing. That's what I think lazy is. Like, if you don't have the energy to do your day, you need to change what you're doing in your day. Amen and the hallelujahs. Yes, trust the process. Yeah, and when you start building that trust relationship, like life just gets so much easier. So much easier. When you are in trust, trust is abundance. Trust is abundance. So when I'm in trust with myself and I'm in trust with life and I'm in trust with the divine, that's it. That's it. Like money, you're in the flow. You're in that's the vibration you want to be in. You know what I mean? Anything outside of that is not trust, is not abundance. You're outside of trust. Where are you? Distrust, right? If you're outside of abundance, where are you? Lack. So trust is abundance. And that work to learn to trust yourself and to trust life, that is the real internal work. Like that's the real work because we're not taught that. You know what I mean? We're not taught that in our society. We're taught like you got to fight tooth and nail to get through this life. Nia says it comes effortlessly and naturally when you trust the universe, God, whoever, and whatever you may call it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Beautiful. All right, my loves. I love you so much. We're going to wrap because I'm going to go be in my energy and I'm going to do my stuff today. We'll be back here tomorrow, Wednesday, 10 a.m. for another episode of the morning show. Come live, drop your questions, drop your topics, whatever you guys want to vibe on and talk about. I love it. I'm here for it. And I love when you guys are live. You're so welcome. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I will see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye, my loves.